Something is happening inside Aptera's facility right now that the mainstream EV world hasn't fully processed yet. And once you understand what's actually unfolding, not the surface-level updates, not the optimistic press language, but the specific, concrete, undeniable signals, you're going to look at this company's timeline in a completely different way. This isn't about hype. This isn't about hope. This is about patterns. And right now, every single pattern is pointing in the same direction. Let's start with something that almost nobody saw coming. For years, the working assumption among even the most dedicated Aptera followers was straightforward. Early vehicle bodies and chassis would be manufactured overseas, shipped to the United States as rolling shells, and then completed domestically. It was a logical plan. It was the expected plan. It was the plan that made financial sense for a company carefully managing capital at every stage of its growth. And then it changed. Not announced with a dramatic press release, not celebrated with a headline. Just quietly, methodically, and decisively, it changed. Because the early validation vehicles are now being assembled directly inside Aptera's Carlsbad facility. Not one, not two, several, simultaneously. A specialized team was brought in specifically to guide this process. Equipment was installed, parts were staged, and the builds began. Now stop for a moment and think about what that actually means. When a startup decides to bring early-stage assembly in-house, rather than outsourcing it overseas, that decision carries enormous weight. It doesn't happen because someone felt like changing the plan. It happens because the leadership team looked at their timeline, looked at their resources, and made a calculated determination that building these vehicles domestically, right now, was the fastest, most controlled path forward. That kind of decision signals confidence, not manufactured confidence for an investor presentation, operational confidence, the kind that comes from knowing exactly where you are in the process and exactly what needs to happen next. And what needs to happen next is validation. These aren't show cars. They aren't polished concept vehicles built to impress at an auto expo and then quietly disappear into a warehouse. These are validation builds, the engineering community's version of a final exam. Because this is the stage where every claim Aptera has ever made either gets confirmed or gets exposed. The real range, not the projected range, not the simulated range, the real number measured under real conditions with real passengers in real weather. The actual solar output per day across different climates and seasons. The true efficiency of the powertrain at highway speed. The handling, the braking, the acceleration, the thermal management. Everything that has lived in the world of engineering estimates for years is about to become empirical fact. That transition from estimate to fact is not a small thing. That is the moment a vehicle stops being a promise and starts being a product. And here's where it gets even more interesting.
Aptera, they didn't just describe what they saw inside. They mentioned what was about to happen outside. These validation vehicles, they said, would soon be seen driving on public roads, on actual streets, in actual traffic, surrounded by ordinary cars, captured by ordinary cameras, witnessed by ordinary people who have no idea they're looking at something that could fundamentally change how people think about energy and transportation. Think about what that means for a moment. This isn't a closed-course test. This isn't a parking lot loop. This is Aptera in the wild, gathering real-world data at scale in conditions no engineering simulation can perfectly replicate. Every mile driven is a data point. Every climate condition, every highway merge, every slow crawl through stop-and-go traffic is feeding the engineers information they cannot get any other way. This is the phase where vehicles prove themselves, and Aptera is entering it now with multiple vehicles simultaneously. But even that wasn't the most unexpected development of recent weeks, because the signal that truly caught people off guard didn't come from inside the facility. It didn't come from an engineer or an executive or a journalist. It came from a customer. An ordinary person who had placed a reservation, waited patiently through years of updates, and then one day opened their email to find something they had never received before, a specific number. Not a general estimate, not a vague tier placement, an exact position in the delivery sequence. That email changed the entire conversation.
At first, the number created confusion. It appeared far later in the queue than the customer had expected, and for a brief moment, it looked like something had gone wrong. But they pushed for clarification, and what came back was actually more interesting than the original email. It turned out they held 2 reservation positions, one from an early accelerator program and one from a later investment tier. The number that had arrived corresponded to the later position. Their original placement, the one tied to years of early commitment, was exactly where it had always been, near the front. Once the picture cleared, everything made sense. But the real question isn't what the email said. The real question is why it was sent at all. Companies don't send precise delivery sequence numbers to customers because they have nothing better to do. That level of specific communication is a logistical signal. It means someone inside the organization has looked at the production plan, mapped it against the reservation list, and determined that the gap between where they are now and when those early customers will be contacted for next steps is close enough to justify reaching out. That's not something a company does 18 months before deliveries. That's something a company does when deliveries are entering the operational horizon. And when you stack that signal on top of everything else happening simultaneously, it becomes very difficult to dismiss.
Consider what is happening all at once. Multiple validation vehicles are being built inside the Carlsbad facility right now. Public road testing is imminent. Aptera is now publicly traded, which means capital formation has entered a new phase entirely. Every milestone the company hits generates visibility, and visibility in the public market generates investment, and investment accelerates production timelines in ways that private funding alone simply cannot match. Engineers with high-volume manufacturing experience have been hired. Not engineers who specialize in prototypes, engineers who specialize in scaling. That's a specific and important distinction. Supplier relationships that were once in various stages of negotiation are now reportedly locked in. And inside the facility itself, the shelves aren't empty. They're stacked with actual production intent components, not placeholder parts, not engineering samples from 3 years ago, but the real pieces of a real vehicle waiting to be assembled in real sequence. That image alone, a facility full of parts staged for use, is worth more than any press release. Then there's the factor that rarely gets discussed with the seriousness it deserves. The state of California awarded Aptera a significant grant. And that grant is not a gift with no strings attached. It comes with a legal commitment. A specific number of vehicles must be delivered to customers within a defined timeframe. This is not a soft goal. This is not an internal target that can be quietly revised without consequence. This is a binding obligation tied to public funding. Which means that somewhere on Aptera's production planning calendar, there is a hard date, and the team is building toward it.
When you have a grant deadline, a publicly traded stock, a facility full of parts, multiple vehicles in active validation, public road testing beginning, high-volume manufacturing engineers on staff, supplier contracts locked, and customers receiving specific delivery sequence numbers, you are no longer looking at a company that is someday going to make a car. You are looking at a company that is in the process of making cars right now. The last official timeline pointed to 2026. But here's the thing about official timelines in the automotive world. They are always a function of 2 variables: engineering readiness and capital availability. For most of Aptera's history, both of those variables were in motion simultaneously, creating uncertainty that made firm dates nearly impossible to commit to. Funding would accelerate, then slow. Engineering would clear a milestone, then encounter a new challenge. That's not failure. That's the reality of building a vehicle category that has never existed before. Because that's what people sometimes forget. Aptera isn't building a slightly different version of something that already exists. They're building a 3-wheeled, solar-integrated, ultra-aerodynamic vehicle from a near-blank sheet of paper. The closest reference points in automotive history are decades old and were built under completely different technological and regulatory conditions. The degree of difficulty here is genuinely extraordinary. And the fact that they are now in full validation, with multiple vehicles, with public road testing, with real customer communication, is not just progress. It is a remarkable achievement that deserves to be understood in that context.
Now, understand why this moment, specifically, is different from every other promising update over the past several years. In previous cycles, there were always one or two strong signals surrounded by uncertainty. A great prototype video, but no supplier confirmation. A funding round, but no engineering milestone to match it. Impressive renders, but no facility activity. The signal was always partial. Something was always missing from the picture. Right now, for the first time, none of the major pieces are missing. The engineering is in validation. The facility is active. The suppliers are locked. The funding pathway is open through the public market. The team is expanding with the right specializations. The customers are being contacted with specificity, and the grant deadline is creating real, external, unavoidable pressure toward delivery. Every single variable that has historically been the source of delay or doubt is now either resolved or actively resolving. That is new. That is genuinely, materially new. And for the people who have followed this company long enough to remember when none of these things were true, that shift is enormous. Here's something else worth sitting with. For people who have been waiting specifically for a solar electric vehicle, not just any EV, but one that fundamentally reimagines the relationship between a car and the energy that powers it, the temptation to abandon ship right now might feel real. New EVs are launching constantly. The market is fuller than it has ever been. And after years of watching timelines adjust, patience has a cost. That's a legitimate feeling. But consider what you'd actually be walking away from.
You would be walking away from a vehicle that, under the right conditions, can generate enough solar energy during normal daily use to effectively eliminate your charging costs entirely. You would be walking away from an efficiency figure that no other production vehicle on the planet comes close to matching. You would be walking away from a design philosophy so radically aerodynamic that it redefined what the word efficient even means in the context of electric transportation. And you would be walking away at the exact moment, the precise, documented, verifiable moment when all of that is transitioning from vision to reality. The irony of losing patience now, of all moments, would be significant, because what's coming in the next few months is not more waiting. What's coming is real range data from real validation vehicles driven in real conditions. What's coming is footage of Aptera on public roads, not a test track, not a closed course, but the same streets and highways that every other car shares. What's coming is performance data, solar output measurements, thermal efficiency results, and the kind of transparent engineering disclosure that turns years of speculation into a single definitive answer. And if all of that goes the way the current trajectory suggests it will, what comes after that is deliveries, actual vehicles in the hands of actual customers who reserved years ago and held on through every uncertain chapter of this story.
The people who get there first won't just have a remarkable vehicle. They'll have something rarer than that. They'll have the knowledge that they backed something genuinely unprecedented at a time when it was still easy to walk away, and they didn't. That's a specific kind of satisfaction that no late production purchase can replicate. So here's where things stand. Aptera is not a company still trying to prove its concept. The concept has been proven. The engineering has matured. The infrastructure is in place. The financial pathways are open. The team is built. The parts are staged. The vehicles are being assembled. The customers are being contacted. And the clock tied to that California grant is ticking, not as a threat, but as a forcing function that transforms ambition into schedule. The question has quietly shifted. It's no longer if Aptera delivers, it's when. And the answer to that question is looking closer with every single week that passes. Every mile those validation vehicles drive on public roads narrows the distance between promise and product. Every engineering number that comes back from real-world testing either confirms the vision or sharpens it. Either way, the process is moving. The machine is running. And for everyone who has been watching this story unfold across years of updates, prototypes, funding rounds, timeline revisions, and quiet moments of doubt, this chapter is different, not because someone said so,
because the evidence says so, because the parts on those shelves say so, because the customers receiving emails with specific numbers say so, because the engineers hired to scale production say so, because the grant deadline with real legal weight says so.
The extraordinary solar electric vehicle ever designed is getting closer to the people it was built for. And the next time you see an update from inside that Carlsbad Valley, it may not be a validation build anymore. It may be the beginning of something the EV world has genuinely never seen before.